Okay, I think now it works. So welcome everyone again, and good morning and good afternoon. We are really happy to see you in our next session of the Thursday talks. Maybe shortly, I will introduce you Riska, who will be the speaker today. Riska is an urban planner with that is focusing on building inclusivity and resilience in the development of the cities. And she's currently the program manager at Kota Kita and has been engaged in different participatory urban planning activities and research since 2013 in the fields of climate change, adaptation, resilience, community development, and informality. Rizqa has been working in 10 different cities in Indonesia, and I think today we will get some insights from Semarang city. So the presentation will be about towards resilient climate resilient Semarang, and we will talk about initiatives from the city scales to the resilient Kampung, which is a neighborhood in Indonesia. And maybe first of all, Rizqa, thank you that you were able to join our session. We are really looking forward to hear about from examples from the ground from Indonesia. Maybe just a short introduction to you all as well about this format of our Thursday talks. We are trying to do it, we are doing it within PolyUrbWaters project, and we are trying to do it every month. We are looking for different partners and speakers who would like to as well speak about different issues connected to polycentric management of urban waters, sustainable urban development, and similar topics. So if you would have any proposals for next speakers, please also just write us or let us know at the end of this presentation, or contact us via email. I would, before we start the presentation, maybe I would like to give a short, I would invite David Dietz from Borda to welcome as well our partners from the cities in Southeast Asia. And I can see also that Bernd Guter, the project manager from the PolyUrbWaters, is also with us. So maybe David and then later Bernd, if you would like to say 1 minute introduction, and then Rizqa.
Yeah, thank you, Anya. Yes, warm welcome from my side as well. Also, I'm very happy and glad that Kota Kita can present today. I think it's very great. We have a very relatable example probably today from an Indonesian city, and actually, yeah, not probably differences between Yogyakarta or Sleman and Semarang, but on the other hand, also size-wise, I think there's lots of commonalities. So I think that's really nice also for the project team to have something in that. So I think I just would like to highlight, yeah, we have guests from our partner ministry, again, from Public Works Ministry of Indonesia, Ibu Nandia from Direktorat Sanitasi. Thank you, Nandia, for joining. That's really great. I don't see yet so many from the city governments. Maybe they will come in still in the next minutes, since the Zoom update also happened just to me. Otherwise, I think, yeah, it's very good that we can record the session. So we will definitely forward the link and also hinting it out to our city partners to have a look and yeah, get this. So with this, I hand over to Bernd Guter to give a short welcome, and I think then we can start the session. Thank you very much.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Best greetings from Berlin in Germany. Yeah, I most welcome you to this session. Yeah, I just give you an update what we are currently doing in our program and project. We have started to conduct baseline studies in Sleman, Indonesia, and some newer in Laos. And now we're initiating the process in Krache, Cambodia. We are advancing quite quickly. Yeah, we see the challenges here to get ground data, reliable ground data. Yeah, that we are able really to create an image. What is the water situation in the context of urban development in the cities? Yeah. And we think that we will have the results early next year, the first results, yeah. And then we will elaborate a guideline, yeah, how such kind of assessments can be elaborated. Good news is that the German Ministry for Research and Education, the funding agency, respectively, the funding government agency, and ministry, they promote the PolyUrbWaters project, yeah, as a reference project, yeah, at the World Urban Day. That is 31st of October. That means next Sunday, and there will be a communication on our Facebook and Instagram account. Okay, thank you. Looking forward to good discussions.
Thank you very much, Bernd and David. Just maybe before Riska will start, we will have a discussion after the short presentation. So I think we plan about 25 minutes presentation, and then we should have enough time to ask the questions. If you have questions during the presentation, feel free to already write them in the chat, or just during the discussion, raise your hand and then ask directly the question, and we will try to moderate that with David. Okay, Riska, I think you can start already sharing your screen.
Yes, okay. Can you hear my voice, Anya?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I will try to share my screen right now. Is it visible right now? Yes, okay.
Maybe we can try to do a full screen.
Yes. Okay. Oops. Okay. Thank you everyone for the chance to share here in the Thursday session. As already introduced by Anya, my name is Rizqa and I'm a project manager at Kota Kita. And we will be sharing our experience in the city of Semarang in this case. Why we want to share this is because I think it's quite similar process with the process that you are currently doing in the PolyUrbWaters project. So I think the learnings that we got from here maybe can be, you know, like important points for the next step as well for the PolyUrbWaters projects. Let me start with a little bit of our involvement in the water as leverage project as one of the, I think, first project why we work in the Semarang. Oh, I'm sorry. Oops. Okay, sorry. Okay. So this project was actually started out as the initiated by the government of Netherlands, where they work in 3 cities, which is Chennai, India, Khulna, Bangladesh, and Semarang, to actually tackle water problems there. And it was started out as a competition actually. So there were different teams working on the design of the more sustainable water management in those 3 cities. And we are one of the teams working there. And so the project was actually, you know, like involving a lot of stakeholders in the process, where we are as a, you know, we were sort of someone who works there, but we also work with the a lot of institutions there, including not only the government, but also the local communities, academics, and also those in the neighborhood level in understanding the problems there until proposing the solution. So I think the whole process from the, we start with trying to understand what is the water problems there, and proposing the solutions together through a co-design process. And this was, the project was actually started in 2019, so just 2 years ago. And 2018 to 2019, so it was actually pretty short, but there were a lot of process of discussion with the, like, as I said before, with the government, the local communities, involving the NGOs and private sectors as well, to basically scope where the involvement can be in the implementation phase. And from that discussion, I think I can share a little bit the context of Semarang. So Semarang is a city of 1.7 million people, and it's located in the coastal area, and the economy is heavily rely on industry and trade. So industry is like really big sector in Semarang. So we understand that the city is growing, but and it's also sit on the dynamic water system from the coast to the upstream. So the topography of the city is quite diverse, with the hilly topography of the south part, and to a flat topography towards the coast in the north. And all of the challenges in the city are linked by water. And these are some of the screenshot of the problems there, where in the coast area, they are exposed with sea level rise and coastal flooding and land subsidence at the same time, while on the south part, which is the hilly area, they are prone to landslide, and access to water is still a huge problem there. And this is just a picture there in the north coast of Semarang, where coastal flooding often combined with the pluvial flooding and become a part of their daily lives. And this is just a map of what I said before. The north part is prone to coastal flooding, and then the land subsidence rate are also very high in the northeast, which also the location of the industries there. And here are the area with landslide, with high land susceptibility, and these are the area which have no coverage of pipeline water system. And yeah, so actually to summarize the challenge and current approach in there to fulfill the water needs, most of the people are still using groundwater extraction, and this causes aquifer depletion, and in some of the area, particularly in the north, it caused land subsidence, and in some other part often causing landslides. And this become worse with the risk of coastal flooding and upland flooding, where it's making the communities at the coastal area of Semarang more vulnerable. And from this, like lack access of water, groundwater extraction, and then making the land subsidence worse, making the community vulnerable. We also understand that there is a need for improving the economy. So the population are growing, the industry are still a sector that they want to pursue, and so this has become another challenge that the city has to face, because this is happening. But another fact is the climate change that increasing the sea level rise and more intense rain and storms make the local communities are more vulnerable to the hazards. So the current approach that the city government has applied is using the hard engineering flood protection, which is the dike and polder system using pumps. And this is actually with the condition of subsidence. It's actually the problem is the high cost of maintenance, because this infrastructure need to keep up with the subsidence rate. And apart from that, the cost of maintenance is really high for this sort of infrastructure. So this is basically the whole flood control scheme in the Semarang, where they separate the upstream water management and the downstream. So in the upstream, they try to catch the water through the some sort of catchment tunnel in the midstream of Semarang, and then in the downstream they use the polder system, including pumps, retention, and dams, and also embankment for the coastal flooding. So this has been the scheme that they are implementing. But yeah, these are the location of pump station and also the dike and in Semarang. But as I mentioned before, this has been a very costly solution for them. So the idea is actually to shift from the near-term protection to more long-term adaptation and mitigation. So we would like to address the to limit the groundwater extraction by providing alternative water resources and promoting more, sustainable development guidelines for, like promoting more water absorption, and then promoting nature-based solution, promoting filtration and water storage, and etc. And oops, sorry. And so basically, the idea is to shift from the quick water release strategy into into better water management, where no drops gets lost, which means like every drops of water needs to be managed from the upstream to the downstream. So that's the big idea of our proposal. So there are actually five different program proposals. If we start from the upstream, we have a proposal idea called Spongy Mountain Terrace, where it looks at the infiltration and retention at the upstream area. And then at the midstream, the strategy is to improve the capacity of the drainage systems. So the idea is to reduce the burden of the main drainage system by slowing the water runoff. And as industry is a very big contributors of groundwater extraction, we need to focus also on the water provision in the industrial areas. And for the Kampung level, there needs to be a shift in the people's behavior, and then looking at the more grounded solution for water management at the Kampung level. So we also promote the concept of resilient Kampung here. And then lastly is the coastal protection, integrated coastal protection on, this one is focusing on protection of the coast of Semarang from the coastal flooding. So I think I will go just quickly to each of those, but I think the big idea I already shared to you. So the Spongy Mountain Terrace, the objective is to reduce the flash flood and increasing access to water and reduce the landslide risk by, hold on, I'm sorry, so, I'm sorry, the language is mixed between Bahasa Indonesia and English. So basically the goal here is to reduce the runoff with the water catchment and infiltration system. So in the upstream area of Semarang is still relatively open, but it's also prone to the new development. So what we're looking at here is like for the new area, we need a new development guideline where the new developer needs to fulfill a certain standard for water management. For example, there is, you have to have some sort of catchment in your housing area, something like that. And for the already existing housing or kampungs, the idea is to basically apply different type of catchment, a small scale catchment or infiltration system in the upstream to reduce the runoff to the downstream area. So these are different strategies that I'm pretty sure you all familiar with. And the second part is the rechanneling the CD, because a lot of drainage in Semarang, the problem is not all of the capacity is sufficient. So there are the idea of the midstream channel was actually a concept, but it's not running well in the city. So the idea here is to basically deactivate all of the channel in the midstream area of Semarang to reduce the burden in the main drainage system. So yeah, this was actually the pilot projects that they were looking at. So from the main drainage system, which is the big two canals in the left and right. So the idea of improvement is actually on the secondary drainage as well. So not only in the main drainage, but actually the increasing capacity of the secondary drainage. And this improvement is ideally not only the drainage, but also in the area surrounding with provision of public space for the local communities and economic opportunities. And this is for the industrial area. So why we focus on industry, we know that, as I already mentioned, the location of industrial area in Semarang is also correlates with the location of area that prone to land subsidence. And this is quite big sector in the city because in terms of area, it's pretty wide because a lot of industrial area are located in the north part of the city, and a lot of people are working in this sector. And right now, it's still the backbone economy of Semarang. So that's why we think that it's important to address the water provision in the industrial area. So the idea is to promote to all of those industrial area to retain water locally, to provide some sort of retention water treatment facilities in each industrial area, which right now they don't have them just yet. So from 7 industrial area, there's only 1 that have this facility in the area, inside the area. So we're looking at the provincial government for changing the regulation for this. So this might be a long process still, but yeah, they were in the meeting as well, and the idea seems to be well accepted by the government. So yes, this is basically the idea. And then for the coastal approach, coastal zone, in integrated protective coastal zone in Semarang, where we see that the industrial use are located in the north part, while the natural ecosystem that needs to protect the coastal area should also be there. So the idea of this is actually to create an integrated vision for the coastal management for the whole north coast of Semarang, because right now it seems like there's a lack of coordination there. And the regulatory concept that we trying to promote there is the ecological value transfer, where the economic value gained from the industrial activity could be shared with the environmental or ecological restoration in the coastal area. So we understand that this also be a long process for the regulation to be there, but yeah, this is one of the idea that was put in the table by the stakeholders as well. And this was some of the pilots that was identified by the government. So here there are also big projects of harbor, toll road, and another this both are toll road basically. So they are looking at how to build that in how the toll road can improve the coastal protection while also still provide opportunity for the local for the ecosystem there, for the current ecosystem there. And yeah, this was the idea for the harbor toll road. One of the concept is like to still give the water access to the neighborhood, to the coastal neighborhood, so they still can have the access to the sea, because most of them are the fishing communities. And lastly is the network of resilient Kampung. So we think that all of the program proposal are not enough, because we still need like small scale intervention at Kampung level for improving the water management. So we think that everyday water practice that people have at the kampung have an impact to the city as a whole. So this small scale intervention would be actually beneficial in improving the water condition at the city level, because as we know, a lot of 30% of the flooded area there are actually, 30% of the kalurahan are still flooded, and most of the flooding are local flooding. So we think that improvement in the small scale level can benefits to the like reducing the burden to the bigger system. So the proposal for the resilient kampung, the idea is to improve the water management at the locally. So how the runoff or rainwater can be stored or like put in the filtration park, and then can be used for can be treated for the water use locally in the kampung, for example, for the maybe not for the potable use, but for the secondary use in the household, for example, for washing or for cleaning the car, something like that. And then yeah, so the idea is to have this to use the water locally in the kampung. So yeah, the idea is to have the small scale water treatment in the kampung level, and then maybe rainwater harvesting. So the program involves a lot of different components of water management. It could range from the rainwater harvesting, and then retention pond, or simply bioswale, and then like different types of like flooded like park, something like that. And the idea is to reduce the burden of the like centralized water supply system, for example, and wastewater system as well, because a lot of kampungs are not connected to the bigger system, in this case in Semarang, particularly those areas in the upstream and areas in the coastal. And yeah, I think that's from the water as leverage bigger concept, the 5 program proposal. And that was ended in 2019, and in 2020 we actually still working with the local government of Semarang to try to push this forward, because that was just a concept idea and 5 program idea from the team, right, from the design team. But then we work together with the government of Semarang on how to push this forward. And in particular, they were looking for something that they can implement with their own budget, because some of the projects are big scale and needs a lot of stakeholders to work together, and need a policy change at the upper level, for example, provincial level or national level. So that was quite challenging for the coastal projects, for example, and for the industrial project, because that's not in their authority. So they want to focus on only 3 concepts here, which is the resilient kampung, and rechanneling the city, and the spongy mountain terrace. And we identified different implementation scenario for different program proposal. For example, this is for the resilient kampung. We try to fund it through APBD, or working together with CSR, or creating a program called Green Musrenbang, which tap into current participatory budgeting process in the city. Or we can also tap into another program that is addressing the resilience issue, for example, Tamsimas or Kotaku or Kelurahan Tangguh Bencana. So there are already several programs running in Indonesian cities, basically. And we compare each of the implementation scenario, and at the end, the government, I think before that, on the same year, they also request us to make some sort of resilient kampung guideline, which actually, it's a sort of like intervention for improving water management at the local level, focusing on household, community, and neighborhood. So this is there are a lot of menu there that can be used by both the local communities and the government. And from this guideline, the government take it as an information to develop the Green Musrenbang or Green PB. So this is actually just recent this year in 2021. The city government, they integrate the concept of resilient kampung into the existing participatory budgeting process. So I'm not sure if you are familiar with the participatory budgeting process in Indonesia, but it's actually territorial based fund allocated for each neighborhood. It's usually for general development. It's not much, but yeah, the idea is for the community to participate in the development process where they can propose something for the development of their neighborhood. And with this Green Musrenbang, certain allocation of money is allocated for the environment or green projects in the neighborhood. So this is still new. When I asked the city government of Semarang, they said, well, this is not perfect yet, but we already have the regulatory framework there, and then it can be improved later on. But yeah, it's started already and hopefully running the end of this year. And yeah, we all with the government of Semarang, we understand that the Kampung intervention might be small, but with this kind of seed funding for the neighborhood improvement in the green infrastructure, we believe that it will create an impact for the city as a whole, although this start with a small budget. And this is, I don't know if my time is already out, and yeah, but yeah, this is a little reflection from the process in the with the government of Semarang. I think from the whole process, we highlight the commitment of local government is very key in ensuring the continuation of the project, because it's quite lucky. We are quite lucky where the government of Semarang were really proactive in the development of the concept together with us. So we feel that they are also pursuing the next step for this because they were part of the process, and including the creation of regulation for the resilient kampung. They were taking that step by themselves, and then they were asking opinion on some of the technicality, but they were the one who pushed this they were the one who integrate this to the local regulation. And I think it's an important step that it's already embedded in the regulation, because this is when it's in the regulation, then there will be funding allocated for the project, right? And yeah, this might take a long time, but I think this is one of the key success, yeah, in the promoting like small scale solution at the kampung level. And another lesson that I would like to highlight is the advocacy, I think, should be built at all levels, because the project in Semarang, I think not all are successful. Some of the program proposal were stuck because we need funding from the national government, but they were not involved since the beginning. So there were actually a process of advocacy from the city level to the national government, but that was like in the end of the process. And when there is no funding to be tapped, and that will be very difficult to get funding for the project, especially for the large scale project. And I think my last point would be ensuring participation of other stakeholders are very important. For example, the communities and also private sectors, because in the case of Semarang, we also try to talk to the industry, and it seems like they are actually on board, and the communities, they are actually very open to the idea, as long as there's like mechanism for them to do more, and if the government are doing more awareness, I think they are on board for the process, for example, for the neighborhood scale projects. Yeah, I think that's all from me for now. We can continue with the discussion. Back to you, Anya.
Yes, thank you very much. That was super interesting presentation. I think we got a lot of topics to discuss right now. I don't see any questions yet, but maybe I will try to sum up a little bit. I think what my main takeaway from the presentation is that through this project you were quite successful because two components worked very well. So inclusion of the different stakeholders in order to ensure the sustainable and further development of the project. And on the other hand, I really like the idea that you continue developing the roadmap, and actually the key output was also that you use the different, you managed to identify the different existing programs and connect them with the ideas that you proposed, and maybe that was also the key to really keep the government involved and being able to implement some of these ideas and projects. And really have to say that I'm amazed by the timeline, because in all it took only 3 years, I think, until now, and then we see that the project is still, or the implementation is still going on and starting right now. So it's really interesting, and we are looking forward to see what's going to happen the next. What maybe would be interesting for me as a first question from my side is when you talk about different stakeholders that were involved, could you specify if you had to take different approach or use the different tools and methods while talking and working with different groups, and how did you do that?
Yeah, I think in the generally, I would say for the government and the academics, we do not have a certain strategy, but for the community, yeah, we have different strategy with them, because like not in Semarang, there's actually a lot of projects going on. So the challenges that we face that time, every time we talk to the community, is they expect something out of it, right? So we were trying to like minimize those sort of expectation, because this is like definition phase, and then it's just a proposal idea, and then not like it's so long from the implementation phase. So we're trying to in a way limit the very intense engagement, because that could be very tiring for them. So we usually work with we different strategy actually with the community. So one is working with the local leaders, and sometimes because Indonesian community are just very chatty and like to talk, basically, we were just making discussion with the local leaders, but then the others come in, something like that. So we make it informal in a way. For the community, also work with that to be clear with them on what is the goal of this meeting. So we need to be on the same page with them first, at least with the leader, that this is a definition phase. We would like to understand your problem, and then let's propose something together. But we also tell them that the implementation phase might be very long, and we don't know yet if it's going to be here, something like this. So be very clear with the expectation of them, because we're the one on the ground. So it's often people are just messaging us, oh, what's the continuation with this and that. So that's something that we at that stage of water as life force, we trying to avoid too intense community engagement. But I think we still get the the essence of the discussion. I think we were talking with a lot of community groups in different areas, and we still get insight with these different strategies. I don't know if that's answer your question, but yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. I see also another already some of the hands up. Maybe Bernd, you can continue as the next one, and after Bernd, Adrian, you can raise your question.
Thank you, Riska, for this very interesting and amazing presentation. And you are very right that in PolyUrbWaters, we are working on quite similar issues, a quite similar approach. Yeah, and certainly we can learn a lot from your experience. A question what I have, you have pointed out, yeah, in the program, yeah, and you had this participatory approach, yeah, working with different stakeholders grouped together. You have this concept now, and you have identified key areas of action. Yeah, a main challenge is now to bring it on an operational level. So, and you said, yeah, okay. Operational level, that means you have to have the relevant stakeholders in, but as well budgeting, yeah, from where the budget comes, yeah, and this has to be already foreseen in the overall process. In our last Thursday call, Christoph from our partner city here in Bremen, he talked about a similar experience. They have the city has elaborated its own climate change adaptation strategy, yeah, as well participatory workshops, identifying vulnerable areas and quarters in the cities, bringing in stakeholders. And then he said, yeah, but now, and then you have to translate it really on as well on operational level. And he says what is most crucial is that you that a core group, yeah, of decision makers and relevant stakeholders is built, yeah, to bring the process constantly forward, and as well then to, that a discussion with among different city departments, local government departments, yeah, they formulate strategic projects, yeah, that you that results are shown, yeah. Don't falling into the trap to have continuous discussion, focus group discussions, and so on. So people are getting somehow lost. Yeah, it's of importance to have a core group, bring to forward strategic projects, pilot projects, see the results and relevance, and bring in funding. Perhaps you can share somehow your experience and observations.
Yeah, I agree with the point that you make about like to push forward to the implementation. I think we need to work with a smaller stakeholder in this case. I think in Semarang, after we came up with the concept and we present at the high level meeting with the mayor, we then move forward with the like some sort of, it's not a task force, but we were working with the smaller team with Bapeda to you know, the slide that I show you about the comparing the implementation scenario. It was with them together with the technical team, and from there I think they were the one who's like, you know, like push forward this agenda and like you know, like also assess which program are to you know, to push this agenda forward. So that's why they were come up with the option for example, for the resilient Kampung. They were pushing forward that to the green musrenbang, so they integrate that to their current musrenbang process, adding the green infrastructure and then climate adaptations perspective into their current development agenda, participatory process. And to add that, I mean, like as an NGO, we also on another project after that year, we also work on the like developing a roadmap for land subsidies, which also connect to the problem of massive groundwater extraction. So it's actually another project, but like from that result of water as leverage, we understand that why the groundwater extraction is very heavy to be like very hard to be stopped. So we work we try to identify which is the key stakeholder for this, which was the provincial government. So that's why we try to partner with the provincial government to create this roadmap for mitigating land subsidence, which then the strategy is like on the provincial level to provide the water sources for this industrial area. So I think this is already beyond the project of water as leverage that time, but yeah, we try to work with the different stakeholders that can address this problem directly. That would be my response, Bern.
Thank you very much. Okay, I can see already, Adrian, you posted some questions. Do you want to ask again and then, yeah.
Yeah, okay, no worries. Thanks very much. It was very impressive what you've managed to accomplish, like Anya said and Bernd said. I think for me, a particular point of interest was this resilient Kampung guideline, which we saw in one of the slides. And I think it piqued my interest, especially, and the question popped up for me, is there any examples yet of its use or adoption by a Kampung? And that was one question. And well, two, in practice, who would initiate and adopt and implement and manage the process? And three, can we get a copy of this guideline? Is it available, even if it's in Bahasa Indonesian? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, since the project concluded, I think there is not yet implementation of it as a, you know, like resilient Kampung per se, but like I think because we're talking about the resilient Kampung, there's a lot of component within that, right? So one would be like water management, the other is waste management, the other is wastewater management, and the other is like disaster preparedness. So if we're talking about each of the components, there are already Kampung implementing that, you know, like, but as a whole package, I would say not yet, and it's not operational yet within the Green Musrembang process because it will just start next December, and so I cannot say there's already Kampung implementing this concept, but yeah, hopefully within the next year there will be Kampung implementing this. Within the current Musrembang process. But yeah, the guideline is available, but it's in Bahasa Indonesia. I would say it's not yet perfect, and it can be, you know, further developed with more practical solutions, and can be, you know, added with more nuance for, you know, like different Kampung is different, have a different characteristic, right? So I think one thing that can be added there is adding nuance of, you know, like coastal Kampung and then upstream Kampung. So maybe the case in other countries are different. So maybe for the polyurban water, I think you can like expand in that area, I think.
Yeah, oh, it's definitely something to keep track of, or to maybe now and then get some updates on how it works and how it's been sort of adopted, and what parts seem to be working well and what needs more work. So yeah, definitely, thank you. If it's possible to get a copy, I think that would be great.
Sure, we'll share that.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And I see David also, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, thank you, Anya. Yeah, also from my side, many thanks, Rizqa. Really great and very inspiring presentation and project there. My question was towards the involvement or communication with the industry partners or the industry players in the northern part of Semarang. I was wondering, how was it possible from your side to display this connection between depletion of groundwater and land subsidence, and also with respect to, I mean, there's very large private investment in the industry sector, right? So when they see, well, actually we are depleting the groundwater, we're extracting it, and we are risking at the same time that our investment might, I mean, they might have damages at their factories, they might have maybe for future investment, it can be very difficult. This connection because I hear from your side, it goes a lot about, you say, we look at changing regulations and so on, but maybe there is an economic interest for the industry partners to say, or for the industrial actors to say, well, we have to stop with this depletion, with this extraction of groundwater in order to protect our investments and in order to stop lamps. I mean, do you see my point? Was that part of the discussion, and how well was it understood by the industry in general? Thank you.
Yeah, I at the time we didn't have time to like do really, like economic assessment on this and to have a value proposition for them just yet to ask them to shift from this groundwater extraction to more sustainable water practices, because at that time there is no alternative just yet, and we do not have yet the calculation, but yeah, it was actually quite challenging, David, in terms of like talking to them, and they were pretty close to give information as well about like the use of, water, because it's like from the government side, it's not well monitored as well, because it's hard to get information of how many waters they discharge from each industry, something like that. It's very hard information. So that's why we were working with the provincial government to at least advocate on that part first, on the like getting exact information on like how the government can monitor this groundwater extraction by them. But I think other partners, I think later on in the year, there were another study conducted by, if I'm not mistaken, it was Deltares, conducting the assessment of the economic value for the groundwater extraction there and the impacts of the groundwater to the industry as well. I can try to take a look at that as well, because I think it's still ongoing right now.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Do we have some more questions, maybe in the chat, or? I still see some people coming into the to the presentation, but I think we don't have any more questions from the audience. Okay, thank you very much, Riska. It was really, I think it gave us a lot of materials to think about. I do think also that the both projects could really benefit from each other, and there are useful and similar solutions proposed. And we would be really happy to keep in touch and follow, especially interested in how the Kampungs will start actually to use the roadmaps, if that is going to happen in the next few months and in the next year. Really impressed of the amount of work that has been done in such a short time, and it's really good to really see that that it's moving forward, and it's not another project that was finished, and it's really having this practical part of it that is really being implemented. I would be also really interested in the future to see. I find it really important that instead of inventing or proposing new policies and programs, you try to find different benefits in the solutions that you proposed and connect them to already existing one, and in that way maybe getting a buy-in from the cities and trying to find those somehow meeting in the middle, let's say, of proposed solutions and trying to find a different ways of that. I would propose that actually we meet maybe next year as well, and see how the project is going forward and how the implementation look like in a couple of months. And for now, I would really encourage everyone to also follow up also the different projects of Kota Kita, because I know that you have a lot of similar projects going on, a lot of initiatives with the communities and local governments. So please do that, and we will also upload that presentation to our website and YouTube channel. So for those who didn't manage to attend the full presentation, you can watch it later offline. Yeah, thank you very much for that time. And thank you all also for participating, and we will keep you updated about the next Thursday talk. There is no fixed date yet, but you will find information about it on our website and social media and the newsletter email. Yeah. Thank you very much, and see you hopefully next month.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.